Hello everybody, welcome to Dungeons and Drams. I wanted to do a little bit of a different kind of episode. Typically these are like a tutorial, here's some prompts, here's to adjust them and whatever, but I just had a thought. The deck of many things is chaos and hilarity, so why don't we try to have AI come up with one and see what it can do? But rather than just saying like, hey, remake the deck of many things in a different way, I want to give it a concept of the theme of our game and see if it can make a tailored deck to that theme. For example, Grimdark or like Fey or whatever else. So let's try that. First thing I want to ask it is, are you familiar with the deck of many things? Let's just make sure it even knows what this is and the contents. Of course it's going to, but you should always check. It confirms everything's there. It lists out all 22 cards, so that's awesome. Next, I'm going to ask ChatGPT to basically come up with a list of all new cards with no duplicates to the originals. And let's see what it comes up with. While that's generating, I'm going to take a quick detour here for two reasons. Number one, hey, sub to the channel. If you've been enjoying these, make sure you do. Number two is, as these generate, whatever idea it comes up with, I'm going to take you into Midjourney and I'm going to show you how to generate some artwork for it, because that just sounds like a lot of fun. We have 22 new cards here, and they're everything from the Oracle to the Paradox. And I'll read like 5 of these just so you can kind of get a gist of what it's doing, right? So, you know what? I'll roll some dice. So I'm going to roll a d20 and a d4 and just hope I don't end up with 23 or 24. An 11. All right, so 11 is Gambler. Choose a number from 1 to 20, roll a d20. If you roll your chosen number, you gain a major magic item. Otherwise, you lose something valuable. I love the chaos here. So let's try. You'll just have to trust me on this. I'm going to say 5. 13. I lose something. Oh, well, that's cool. I like that. All right, let's try another card. We have a 9 and a 1, so 10. Minstrel, your deeds are immortalized in song, giving you fame or infamy. That's kind of cool. I like that. That could play into a very heavy RP type one, or, you know, maybe ask your player to come up with the song. That way you don't always have to do all the work. But either way, one more. So we've got 5. Eclipse, for the next 24 hours, all your rolls are made with disadvantage. That's a great card too. So you can see how this is interesting and along the same lines as the regular deck. Now, none of the ones I rolled are terribly bad, although, you know, depending on something valuable, what I lost could be pretty bad. But let's go ahead and generate another one of these decks for a whole different kind of theme. Let's go for the extreme. I'm going to have it generate a deck for a Grimdark style of gameplay. So we have here another 22 cards, starting with Eclipse and going to Void. I'll read both of those. So Eclipse, there was an Eclipse in the previous one, but it had a different meaning, and it just gave you disadvantage. Whereas this one is perpetual darkness falls upon a region of your choice, lasting for 1d4 weeks. Now that's interesting. You could maybe, I mean, certainly if you're playing into some sort of a villain campaign, but just more like making a prophecy and then making it come true, that could convince a lot of people of a lot of things. Let's try Void. A portion of your soul is removed, leaving you less human. Now, what exactly does that mean for a D&D campaign? Well, I would guess if you're playing a Grimdark style of game, probably means something. Let's roll one set of dice. 17. All right. 17, blindness. Permanently lose the ability to see, either physically or in a metaphysical sense. That feels bad. Like real bad. That's interesting though. How would you even get around that? I mean, you could consider going to a healer and seeing if they could help you. At the very least, maybe it's some sort of a small adventure to get your sight back, if you even can. Or maybe that character's just retired, you know? That could really, really be a problem. But let's take a little detour, and as I mentioned before, I'm going to show you how to make some of these cards in Midjourney. Here you see my very advanced method of clearing out the history that I've been working on in Midjourney. So I'm going to show you how to make a card. Now, I've always pictured the deck of many things to be very similar in artistry as a tarot deck. So that's what I'm going to base this off of. So what we're going to do is we're going to do Imagine Tarot Card Style. A card entitled... Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back over to ChatGPT, and I'm going to grab one called the Revenant. Now, Revenant is one from the Grimdark. I'm just going to grab this because I know you can't quite see it. But so it says, Revenant, an enemy you defeated returns to life seeking vengeance. So what I want to do is tarot card style, a card entitled Revenant, end quotation marks. That will actually put the text on the card. And then for this, I've actually had some really good luck simply putting the description after it. You want to do AR, that's going to be aspect ratio 9:16. That's going to give you, less horizontal than vertical. Then hit enter. We've generated 4 different options here, which is the default from Midjourney. And personally, I like either number 3 or number 2. I think number 2 is probably what I would pick because I like the idea of handing somebody a card and having it be black and knowing that it's bad. So, there's no doubt when you get handed this card that it's not going to be a good time. The third one here I also like only because I don't love that this says Revenant at the top and Revenant at the bottom. So let's go with number 3. I think if I had to pick one, that's actually probably what I would pick. So you want to upscale that, takes 2 seconds, and now you've got this as your card. If you wanted to really go above and beyond, grab this, a few others, print them out, cut them up, laminate them if you really want to, and have this at your home game. There's nothing saying that you can't use this kind of stuff at home. It's only when you publish things that AI art is really a big problem. So as far as this goes, so you could do that with any one of these. Let's do one more just to kind of make the point. Not even to make the point, just because it's kind of fun. All right, so we're going to go back over here. We're going to grab, let's go with Wraith. That sounds like fun. So we're going to go back to Midjourney, and we're going to just do the same thing again. I typed tarot card style, again, loving the tarot card style. A card entitled Wraith. You are stalked by a relentless spectral enemy that only you can see. Now let's see what it comes up with. Already I can tell by the previews these are going to look pretty cool. One thing interesting here, and definitely worth noting, Wraith, and it spelled it 4 different ways or 3 different ways across 4 different cards. So that's something to be aware. You might have to drop this into Photoshop and just do a little tweaking. Either that or just generate it again. I've only seen it fail on the spelling a couple of times. If you put things in quotes, it does a pretty good job at it. But my guess is that something between the A and the I or the I and the T, it's getting a little confused. That being said, I love this third one again. I'm going to just go with that again, and we're going to upscale that. Boom. So that looks great. You could go ahead and add colorization to this by adding to the prompt and just specifying that you want it to have a little bit more purple in it. That's not a problem whatsoever. And actually, let's even see if we can change this wording here. I'm going to show you a tool. It's called Vary Region. So if you click on this, it's going to bring up a little prompt, and you can highlight an area here. So I'm going to say this area here is wrong. When you're ready, edit the prompt to describe the new image. I'm actually going to keep the prompt the same because I want it to realize that it did something wrong. And let's see if that fixes it. It might not. This is all part of the game. One of the things that I find most useful about a video like this when you're doing images like this is finding the art style that works for other people. AI artwork, I'm not going to get on a soapbox here, but just it's generating, so I'll give myself until it generates. AI artwork is definitely a quagmire of legalities and bigger opinions. If you want to try to make artwork for yourself, do whatever you want. But the idea of taking money away from somebody else because you are making it in the style of this person, that's a little bit different. And that's why I picked tarot card style. And as you see, there are several different styles it's giving. So keep that in mind, if you're trying to do something. Now, very cool. It actually did fix the spelling. So Wraith is good here. It's good here. It's good here. And it's good here. Although the W is a little weird, but I don't hate it. So that's great. Now I could, upscale this image number 3 again, and we are in good shape. What if we were to make a deck that was based around the Fey? Could you generate a deck that would be thematic to a Fey-centric campaign? Of course it can, and the first one is Blossom, which is very fitting. So it's a burst of magical flowers appears, bringing either good fortune or a mischievous curse. In fact, I actually, while we're talking about this, I want to go make a card of that because I think that could look really cool. And through the magic of editing, you can see it right now. So I like this style of kind of the muted colors. I don't love the LLOSBAN up at the top. I would probably vary that as well, just like I did before. But that's totally fine. That's easy enough to do. So if we want to go back over here, though, so obviously Blossom, there's Changeling, swap places with a Fey creature for 24 hours. That could be interesting. Knight of Thorns, a Fey Knight challenges you to a duel with enigmatic stakes. Let's take that one, actually, and let's go adjust that so that we now know what that actually means in terms of the game. Let's say, could you better define the rules of the Knight of Thorns card? And here's your rules. Summoning the knight. Upon drawing the Knight of Thorns cards, a Fey Knight appears before the player. The knight is adorned in thorny armor and wielding a vine-wrapped blade. Represents the wild and sometimes harsh aspects of nature. Okay, we didn't need that little flavor. But basically issuing the challenge. The Knight of Thorns issues a challenge to the player. This challenge could be a duel, a test of wits, a riddle, or a quest. So you might want to have something prepared. The nature of the challenge should reflect both the Fey's capricious nature and the themes of the campaign. Stakes of the duel, blah, blah, blah. Winning could grant the player a boon such as a magical item, a piece of knowledge, a favor of the Fey. You get the point. And there's more here. You could pause and read them all if you'd like. This could totally be useful if you wanted to make a deck of many things in your own campaign. You could even specify, make me a deck that is less impactful, because that's the biggest deterrent, right? Most DMs aren't necessarily going to put it in their game because they worry about it breaking the campaign. And, you know, maybe you do it once the players are starting to get really, really high level, but I know me personally, I have it in mind for the campaign I'm running, but I worry about putting it in because it could really make things chaotic. So say something like a less impactful deck of many things. Maybe there's only 10 cards in it and all of them are like, you know, role play style. I don't know, whatever you want, but you could ask ChatGPT. Now you could make this same kind of deck for a bunch of different themes. You could do like an elemental and necromantic. You could do arcane, wilderness, whatever else you want, whatever your campaign is looking like. Or if you wanted to have several decks of many things in your world and they're all themed off of different concepts, this could help you to do it. Anyway, I hope that you found this interesting. I hope you look forward to the next video and I'll see you guys all next week. Cheers.